high with the fake. Every time I ain't feeling your vibe, I can feel it inside. I can see in your eyes you a snake. Wanna speak what's on my mind, but ain't wasting my time when I know you gon' lie to my face. Bitch, all in the feelings, cause I ain't give a dick in the money. Now
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Kevin TV, man. We back with another video. We back with another reaction video. And today's video is LeBron James keep making excuses. We tired of that, man. We tired of hearing these excuses, man. We finna get to it. If you're new to the channel, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. Let's go.
Minnesota is going to win this series and knock out the Lakers, the 3 seed, 4 games to 1.
A few moments later.
You know, you guys are a developing roster. You know, you traded for a big generational piece, but that doesn't mean the roster is balanced. And you don't have time once getting Luka to make moves necessarily that are going to allow you to kind of fulfill that roster.
I don't think their regular season gave them it didn't give any of us or the narrative that how good of a team they were actually were. You know, when the postseason comes and you have that team of collective group, they have a strong 8 to 9 guys.
Yeah, from my perspective, there's 2 things I think that they had that you guys are looking for. One is an identity. They formed one this year. You guys are just trying to figure yours out.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Ever since the LeBron Lakers lost in the first round this year, the NBA media, Clutch Sports, and especially LeBron fans, they've been scrambling 24/7, making excuses, pointing the finger, and blaming everyone but LeBron James. If you know how LeBron fans operate, guys like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, Kendrick Perkins, the diehard LeBron fans, this is par for the course. And even looking at LeBron himself, always loves blaming role players, the front office, the coach, anybody except himself.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're only as great as your teammates, allow you to be as well.
Ultimately, teams win championships, and it's never just about me and Luka. It was never just about, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. It was always Minnesota versus the Lakers.
My guy AD said what he needed, and then he was gone the following week. So I got no comment.
Yeah. How did me and Luka lose?
No.
Well, yeah. There's 8 other guys on the floor.
At this point in LeBron's career, he's not the GOAT of the NBA, but he's the GOAT of excuses. Nowadays, everyone kind of gets that. One of the crown LeBron calls to wear is the king of passive-aggressive comments, as LeBron, per usual, won't come out and say it was his teammates' fault or front office fault, but in a roundabout way, makes it pretty well known that's what he thinks. And again, looking at LeBron's comments, what's the classic cop-out for LeBron fans and even LeBron nowadays? Winning in championships is purely a team accomplishment. It can't just be me and Luka to win a title. It's Minnesota versus LA. This right here, the ultimate cop-out for any NBA superstar. Look, you're an NBA superstar for a reason. You get tons of praise, tons of credit, but also tons of blame if you lose. When you take on that burden as a quote-unquote king, that's what comes with that. Not just the good, but also the bad.
Heavy lies the crown.
And when it comes to sport of basketball, being a superstar player, unlike baseball where you play one position, you bat maybe 3 times a game, in basketball your impact is on both ends constantly as long as you're on the floor. For a superstar player in basketball, their overall impact on winning is much bigger than baseball, football, and debatably even soccer. And think about LeBron's teammates not named Luka. What he's saying in this clip is those guys, they simply weren't good enough. Austin Reeves, you're a borderline all-star, the best third option in the league, you weren't enough. Rui Hachimura, yes, in Game 4 and Game 5 you had 23 points, but you're expendable, you could be traded. Finney Smith, Gabe Vincent, Vanderbilt, you guys, you kind of stink, you cost us. Me and Luka, it's not on us. And here's the clear hypocrisy that is rampant with all LeBron fans, and especially LeBron. If his team loses, that loss is purely a team accomplishment. Now, if LeBron James wins, which he rarely does, all of a sudden that title, that victory, it's a LeBron accomplishment.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For
That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
How did me and Luka lose?
Right, no.
Well, yeah. There's 8 other guys on the floor.
And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
Never just about me and Luka. It was never just about, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. It was always Minnesota versus the Lakers.
You did something special. That's probably one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh shit, like you did something special.
Teams win championships. And, it's never, always. Teams always win championships.
Do you see the clear hypocrisy right there? When LeBron James wins, it's I, me, my championship, my legacy, my GOAT case. When LeBron loses, it's about everyone else. Winning and losing is a team accomplishment. And look, here's my take on this. It's pretty simple. A superstar player number one option should get the majority of the credit if his team wins and if he plays great in that victory. Now, if they lose, come up short, even if that guy plays great, plays decent, the amount of blame he gets should be the most on the team. It's not all equal. You're a max player superstar player for a reason. Joe Schmo on the bench, the 12th man, isn't getting blamed for a loss in the NBA Finals. Who's getting blamed is the max contract player, the superstar. That's how it's always worked, and how it should work, but conveniently for LeBron James, he doesn't want those standards. I wonder why. And looking at that Minnesota series, this wasn't some absurd mismatch, unwinnable series, David versus Goliath. What this series came down to was LeBron James, as well as Luka, folding in the clutch.
Now, you have your big guys that make big plays at the end of games, throughout the game, or whatever the case may be.
Into the hands of James, fires up a three, side of the backboard. It's to James. James puts up a three.
Back by LeBron James against Gobert. James.
And I am at a point in my career now where I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luke
Bullshit.
lose?
What did you just say?
I don't lose sleep over that.
Come again?
I don't lose sleep over that.
So stopping LeBron right there, just somebody take this guy's mic, get him off the internet. The more he talks, the more he exposes himself. That clip right there, absolutely damning. After loss versus Minnesota, this guy, I'm not losing sleep. As a teammate of LeBron James, how do you feel hearing that? Austin Reeves, Rui, what do you guys think of that? Someone like Luka who's trying to build his legacy, build his resume, how do you feel about that? LeBron James, deep down, we've known it for a long time, does not care about winning. At this point, what he cares about is all-time stats and longevity. And that right there, the clearest example of LeBron admitting that.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
You disgust me.
Big trade, trying to ram this team together as quickly as possible. Had a hell of a run getting into the playoffs. And, styles make fights, and it was a tough matchup.
Also, one thing I do have to comment on, LeBron James, he loves half-truths. Statements that appear true, appear accurate. When you dive deep into them, they're not really. For Minnesota versus LA, it wasn't some Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed mashup. LeBron James as the underdog. The Lakers this series, with the third seed, had home court advantage. He had a fellow superstar teammate and tons of momentum in this year's postseason. This series versus the Timberwolves, it wasn't some big-time mismatch, LeBron versus the world, him by himself. This series for the Lakers was very, very winnable. But of course, LeBron in Game 1, laid an egg, didn't show, and the final 3 games really didn't show up in the fourth quarters. We're always told LeBron James, he's a basketball genius, basketball savant. He knows everything, sees everything, and always makes the right play. And what we see time and time again...
Damn, so everybody had the Lakers winning.
And out of this Steve Nash podcast, just really 40 minutes long, LeBron James not once brought his bad fourth quarter play in 3 straight games.
You guys are a developing roster. You traded for a big generational piece, but that doesn't mean the roster is balanced. And you don't have time once getting Luka to make moves necessarily that are going to allow you to kind of fulfill that roster.
I don't think their regular season gave them it didn't give any of us or the narrative that how good of a team they actually were. You know, when the postseason comes and you have that team of collective group, they have a strong 8 to 9 guys.
Yeah, from my perspective, two things I think that they had that you guys are looking for. One is an identity. They formed one this year. You guys are just trying to figure yours out.
Man, once.
So stopping that right there, the same old thing, just excuse making, pointing the fingers, blaming everyone but LeBron James. And someone like Steve Nash, much like JJ Redick, a useful stooge to push this narrative. And the one thing that really gets me saying the Lakers didn't have more experience. And that right there, a total lie. Anthony Edwards is 23 and just last year in his first stint in the postseason. Someone like Randall, Ant's second best player, is a playoff choker historically. Then Gobert, he's Rudy Gobert, everybody clowns him. Contrary to what LeBron James says, the Timberwolves team isn't some veteran squad with championship experience, some dynasty in the making. Are they a good team? Yeah, sure. Are they some great team, some Goliath? Absolutely not. And if LeBron wants to talk inexperience, look at JJ Redick, the guy he helped hire. If you want to point the finger at anyone being inexperienced, it's JJ Redick. As much as LeBron James, this dude melted in the playoffs, very similar to Steve Nash in Brooklyn. So that right there is the end of the video, and I'll say one last thing. The longer LeBron James talks, the more he talks, the more he exposes himself. At this point, LeBron James, just hand him a mic, let him go. He's going to contradict himself, lie, say something stupid. When LeBron's talking, that's a guarantee. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
I feel, man, like me, bro, I'm tired of excuses as well, so yeah, man, y'all let me know, bro. See y'all next video, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Love y'all.